You should resign if you don't want to be here. Chris Morris, given your behavior and the people that you hang out with and that you bring here to intimidate your constituents, that makes you...
Hi everybody, I'm Bobbie. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I'm glad to have you. And for those of you who have been with me for a while, I have kind of a different video for you today. I know that I've kind of been all over the place with my channel. I do weird history and I do weird travel, which I love. And then I also throw in some spiritual stuff. So I know that I typically don't have videos like the one we're going to have today, but I think that it's very important to discuss. So I want to talk to you about my experience at a city council meeting last night. I live in Yuma, Arizona. Yuma, Arizona is a tiny little town on the border of Arizona, California, Mexico. Okay, so that's where I live. It's a tiny little town. It's we have a population of, I believe, around 90,000, except for in the summertime when the snowbirds come, and then it blows up to about 275 to 290,000. So it's a very interesting community that has some very unique challenges and things like that. But you know, it's been a great little city to live in, or little town to live in. Last night was the Yuma City Council meeting, and a very, very dear friend of mine was going to speak. And so I wanted to be there to support her. I wanted to listen to her, but I wanted to be there as a support as well, because what she was going to speak about was something that was very personal. So this friend of mine, who is an incredibly intelligent, successful local businesswoman, she is also a Muslim from Kuwait. Right now, what's happening in Gaza to the Palestinians is very, very I don't even know how to put this. Because her experience, I can never relate to her experience, because her experience is so she grew up in Kuwait and was in Kuwait during Desert Storm and lived through that war and those experiences. And so she was there to speak on behalf of a ceasefire for Israel, on behalf, just a humanitarian ceasefire. So let's talk about really quickly Israel, Hamas, Palestine. Okay. I'm not going to go in depth into this at all, because this video is not about the politics or the side that I'm standing on. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the city council. But really quickly, for those of you who don't know, I have an extensive video on the history of the land of Israel. So if you really want to do a deep dive and really understand the history of the land, and I go all the way back to the beginning of recorded history. So I start at the Bible and work my way to present day. And I do feel that that's very important information to have to fully understand what's happening. And I will link that video here in this video, and then I will also put it in the description box down below. So if you want to go check that video out and then come back, you can definitely do that. But going back to the meeting last night, so this was a typical city council meeting. It started off with the council members updating the city on what was going on with each of them. They discussed meetings they had attended, places that they had traveled, different things that were important and that impacted the community. The Yuma mayor, Doug Nichols, spoke about recently meeting President Biden. And you could see that he was really excited and he was happy to share that with the city. And he was talking about how he got to meet him and got pictures with him. And so I thought, like, okay, this is really interesting. I want to see what he has to say, because obviously, like, you know, he's a mayor, he's a politician, but I found, you know, it's very interesting in light of understanding that he had recently been to Washington, D.C. So I really wanted to hear what he had to say. I had been to city council meetings in Washington, where I lived before I lived in Arizona, but this was my first city council meeting here in Yuma. And I didn't have any preconceived ideas or notions. I'm not familiar with any of the council members. I was honestly not even familiar with the mayor. And so I didn't know. I went in completely blind. I don't know whose beliefs or what, you know, I just went in to support a friend. There were a group of speakers there that had come together that were speaking to request that the city council release a statement or a declaration. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but basically release a state of support for a ceasefire in Israel. There are some really big humanitarian issues that are completely separate and aside from the political issues. And of course there were, there's political issues, there are personal issues. It's a very polarizing topic, and there's a lot of passion and feelings behind it, as there very well should be. And as we were sitting there, we went through the business, and then it came to essentially where the community then was able to come up and they could speak. There were quite a few people there that were just calling for this declaration of a ceasefire, not as support of anyone, not to support Hamas, just as a humanitarian effort to stop the violence. And I feel like as a human, to request a ceasefire is a very human thing to do. And I don't think that it should matter what your religion or your beliefs or anything else is. I think that all humans should want that. If it were us being attacked, I would really hope that other people would stand up and say, no, like stop this. So I kind of just went with that really naive perspective. And I guess that was kind of like my first mistake. So I'm sitting back and I'm watching the speakers go up, and there were people who were very passionate. There were people who were very well-spoken. There were some people who maybe weren't as well-spoken, but had valid, good points nonetheless. There were people there that had very differing opinions. There were people there that were in support of Israel, and they had every right to be there and to voice their support and to be heard. And that's why everyone was there, to be heard. Isn't that what we all really want anyway? Is just to be heard by someone. So I'm watching these people go up and speak. And as I'm watching these individuals speak about very, very important and emotional things, I was watching the reactions of the city council members, and I was shocked and incredibly disappointed in one council member in particular. All of them I wasn't really impressed with, but I'm going to keep this like very narrow because I don't want to generalize and talk about the entire city council as a whole. I want to talk about two specific people. We're going to talk about our deputy mayor, Chris Moore, and we're going to talk about Gary Knight, who is a council member. So as I'm watching these people get up and have their 2 minutes of the floor, I see Gary Knight, who is a councilman, and he's sitting kind of in front of me, and he had this look on his face, and it was this like, I don't even know how to, it was a smirk. It was kind of a chuckle. I took video. I'm going to insert a real quick clip here. So let's take a look.
That is the city's, you guys are over our city investment fund. Also Microsoft, it has a whole list of them having ties with Israeli soldiers. They are committing war crimes. They are committing humanitarian laws. The Hague says our representatives' responsibility to take accountability to uphold the laws that Israel is breaking. It was demanded that they suspend operations of military, action in Gaza. They have not. It's your guys' responsibility. Now, I understand about the ceasefire, but now we can just move on to this divestment and get our money, Yuma City's money, out of any ties with Israel, because they are committing war crimes, and we are the law. You are the law. So I sent you an email because you had advised me to. You haven't got it, but I know you were busy out of town. Okay. But if you could look at it, respond, I would really appreciate it.
What was the most disappointing to me as a member of the city? I'm someone who I live here, I pay taxes here, my children go to school here, I work here, and I was just stunned at absolute disregard for the seriousness of the situation just based on his body language alone. I've never seen anything like it. And it was really disturbing too, because I'm not normally like a cell phone, like filming kind of person, but I was seeing this and I thought, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I want to just like catch a little bit of this because I need to like share this with other people who aren't here so that I can get their perspective. I want to see like if I'm being overly sensitive or if this is grossly inappropriate. And I can tell you, I really feel like this behavior was grossly inappropriate. But that little snippet that I showed you wasn't the most disturbing thing that I saw last night.
Chris Morris, I'm not sure really what's that funny. You're sitting there with a smirk on your face and you're night, so are you. When some people were talking about the deaths that are occurring, genocide is not funny. There's nothing funny about genocide. And I know that your wife was here last time speaking, mocking us, saying that we're here to say stop the genocide. And you all rode off together and we're so proud of what she came here to say. And it was very supremacist language and very incendiary language that she was using. And it's very inappropriate for you as a council member to have your wife come here and speak that way. And for you, Chris Morris, last meeting, you had your buddies come over here, your crew, to intimidate and threaten us. And your right-hand man, the person that escorted you into the building, made a death threat against my son, and that is unfit behavior for someone who is sitting on a council such as yourself. And as you can see here today, I am not intimidated. I will not be intimidated by that type of behavior. And for you to be sitting on that stage and to be proud of that and to have walked in with him escorting you is a very inappropriate behavior, and it makes you unfit for office.
So as you can imagine, this woman's speech, or what she shared, this was really disturbing. That was the most appalling, disappointing, disgraceful thing I've encountered in a long time. And let's be real, politics and media, we encounter a lot of really disturbing stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think? What's your opinion? Do you think that it was okay for elected officials to act like that? Do you think that their behavior was out of line? I would really, really like to know. And I really want to look at this from a neutral perspective. I want to keep the politics out of this, as difficult as that's going to be. But I want to look at this in the lens that it is. And the lens is, we have a city council meeting where city council members and the deputy mayor of a town is smirking and laughing and chuckling as citizens are speaking about genocide. So take a minute, please respond in the comment section down below. Please be respectful of one another. Everyone is welcome to have a voice here. So please, you absolutely say what you want, but just say it in a respectful way is all I ask. If you like this kind of content, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It's a free way for you to help out my channel and also to let me know what kind of content you guys like. And if you have not already subscribed, please be sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you're notified every time I upload new content. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.